Welcome to another episode of Challenging the Norm, his and hers look at life and business with your hosts, Paul Snell and Lindsey Burden. This is the podcast for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and business owners that want to experience success in their way. Wrestling with topics that matter and reality checking the latest trends in business. Paul works with business owners, showing them how they can take the stress out of transforming teams into performance powerhouses that love what they do, while Lindsey offers business coaching that empowers ambitious women to create financial abundance and a time-rich lifestyle without sacrificing their joy. Paul, welcome. We have a great topic today, and I've already said in the preamble that we always like to have that I'm making you the AI expert.
Oh dear.
But in part because we are I was going to say yin and yang, but we are yin and yang in some respects, but you really do like to research and you like to look at things and you like to really come up with where you stand on these things. So AI, huge topic, which we're going to try and wrestle with today. But where's your thinking at with this huge topic that we've decided to choose?
Well, Lindsey, and it's great to do another podcast, by the way, our second video podcast.
I know, I wasn't going to mention that in case you were still...
No, and I'm getting more and more comfortable. It's dangerous. I'm going to be doing the BAFTAs next. Maybe not. It is a huge subject, Lindsey, AI, and it requires refining to make it subjective. And what I mean by that is, I could talk about AI at a technical level, where it's applied, how long it's been around for, but there are some very specific things that we can talk about, and certainly in relation to the people that listen to and watch our podcast, because it really does need to have, we talk about reality checking. There's a reality to AI, and I think that's the healthy place to be in this conversation. Otherwise, it could take hours. But just let me just start with a statistic that gives you an indication of how prolific this is. So everyone will have surely will have heard of ChatGPT, which is the online chat AI that everybody's using in so many innovative, creative ways. It's amazing. But just to give you some perspective on that, it took Instagram 2.5 years to get 100 million users. It took TikTok 9.5 months. It took ChatGPT under 2 months to get to 100 million concurrent users. That's incredible. I mean, honestly, Microsoft took nearly 15 years to get Windows as the dominant OS, right, for computers. So we are in exceptional times, and AI is going to drive those times for sure. So I think we do need to try and put a spin on this that's relevant to business owners, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and try and wrestle with that a bit. How does that sound, Lindsey?
It sounds like a really great place to start, and I love it because you always bring a statistic, and I always sit forward like the school child, eager to hear. And while that is a really scary statistic, I wonder if in context, we have come so far and we have come so far so fast. Actually, it's perhaps no surprise that they have reached that number already. So I think for me, it's always really important that I put things into context for me, and I hope it's useful for listeners, because otherwise I go in complete fear mode.
Yeah.
Suddenly I think of, it's like the Daleks are going to come out, obviously.
Yeah.
They'd all come out and they'd be taking over the world, and nobody would be needed anymore, and what would life look like? So I have to keep it in context. I think that's an important point to make, that or for me it's the actual point. It's no surprise, that statistic at all, because how far we've traveled, and the speed that we're traveling at now, although I hope we're about to slow down a bit. But who knows, perhaps not. But we talk about AI and what it can do. And I was saying to you that, I'm a paid Grammarly user. Other platforms are available, and we're not sponsored by Grammarly, I should quickly add. And they now have a little AI feature. Now, I love Grammarly because it really has improved my writing style. It's made it punchier, it's made it sharper. It takes my very wordiness down to, whoa, why didn't I just say it like that? And I love it. And the little AI feature, I thought, I'm going to have to try it out a little bit. And every now and then there's a paragraph, and I was saying to you, and it feels a bit, this isn't really doing it for me. So it's never going to do it for anyone else. I kind of press the button and it comes up with something. And sometimes I just go, oh my goodness, yeah, why didn't I write it like that? And change it. Sometimes I go, okay, I like the first 2-3 sentences. I don't like the last bit, or I like the last bit. And I kind of play with it. But again, it's always about improving my writing style, improving the way that I communicate. So I think there is a real value in it as a tool to learn, to improve, and to share our messages, particularly for business owners who have a message to get out there. And often it's the messaging that we really, really struggle with.
Yeah, I think you make a very good point. And while you're talking, I'm going, oh, you know, I think there's a thing here. Let me explain my thing. By nature, humans are lazy. Right. So there's a radical view for you on a Monday afternoon. Humans tend to be lazy. We're not lazy because we're apathetic. We're lazy because we evolved in a way that said, as long as we are fed and safe, we don't need to do anything else. We can just be. But because we are, I'm calling it lazy. It sounds worse than it really is. But the attraction to AI in the context that you describe and the context that ChatGPT is available in is it can make it very easy to do what might be a more challenging job. So if in your case with Grammarly, you've written something, you're not feeling it's the best you've ever done. And again, no criticism here, but you're not sitting there going, oh, I must redo that and see if I can improve on it. You're pressing an AI button. ChatGPT does the same thing. The reason the uptake was so prolific is because people sat and thought, if I've got to write content for social media, I can just say to ChatGPT, write me some content. Job done. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to do anything. I can relax, press post. Of course, life's easy. So there is a context around AI that there is a warning around, because the last thing that I think anybody wants is, really and truthfully, apart from those who go, no, I want an easy life, is you don't want to be in a situation where you no longer have to think. You no longer have to do something creative. In fact, I read somewhere that the general view is anything that involves creativity is something that ChatGPT may struggle with at this time. So creativity is a sacrosanct place, you know. As we discussed before we started recording, Lindsay, no AI, as we currently understand it, can replace Lindsey Burden, who's sitting there going, oh, I've got an idea, let me do this. It cannot do that. Whether it does in the future, I don't know. But what I do know, it currently can't do that. So you can sit there, Lindsay, and say, oh, I need a post on mindset management or whatever it might be. And you can ask ChatGPT. But if you get inspired in that moment, ChatGPT can't replace that.
No, it can't. And what's really interesting, so I tend to write my blogs in draft format. I write them out once, run them through Grammarly. Mainly that's checking for spelling errors. Have a look at them again, and then they're left, and then I go to repost them or post them and publish them to the website. And what's really interesting is that I will nearly always rewrite most of it, because the emotion I was feeling, who I was, where I was, the place I was at when I first wrote it is not the same in the moment that I go to publish it.
Yeah.
So I think there is that challenge that, well, no, it's challenge. AI cannot replace that. It cannot replace who I am, how I'm feeling, my environment. Like say, who knows, it might be able to in the future. But coming back to that learning of new things, and coming back to that, not so much being lazy, but for looking at ways to work smarter, particularly when we're talking about solopreneurs or preneurs who have a very, very small team and may not have a marketing department, for instance. It is about looking at ways that you can work smarter so that you can do what you really love, so that you can do the thing that you are the expert at, where your zone of genius is at. Because I don't know about you, but I'm always telling my clients, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite phrase. Or, why are you spending all your time on this? Oh, because I need to be on social media, I need to be here, well, actually, that's, you're not getting the results. And I talk very much about energy and the energy behind things and how we attract things from that energy and how we show up. AI cannot do that.